All right. We are here, guys. Welcome to the DJ Spider podcast presented by Beatsource. You know it. And in the studio, I've got somebody who last time we were here, we were disconnected, okay? We were talking through a screen. It was a hard time. We were going through a lot of emotions in our life. And now we're here in person with each other, able to catch up and talk about it. This man is a legendary DJ from Los Angeles. He's LA through and through. I couldn't think of anyone better to rep LA than this guy. He's got an amazing history that also involves New York City in a large part, but also Los Angeles. He's got connections with everyone from Stretch Armstrong to Shecky Green to DJ AM and Steve Aoki and a billion people in between. He was the resident at the famous Banana Split ever since the start. Got incredible stories from that. He's got amazing side projects of all types of music, every genre from mellow to drum and bass to you would never guess. He plays massive music festivals all over the place, has incredible residencies in LA and beyond. So please welcome to the show, my man, the Mike B.
Yes.
Let's go.
Go on. What an intro. When you put it like that, you're right.
You're the man.
Very impressive.
That's what I was doing when I was sitting here. I was trying to think of stuff like that.
I've never really heard it put quite like that before.
Well,
no, that's
just a taste of it, to be honest. If you got and we did do a pandemic podcast that has some parts that maybe neither of us want to listen back to, but you can go back and hear some historical things on that as well.
I feel like we covered a lot of ground, and now we'll have a nice update. But it's good to be back. It's good to be here with you, my brother, my man, one of my favorite DJs, one of the funniest guys I know.
Thank you.
And on one of the best podcasts out there.
We out here. As they say.
We are. We're literally out here.
We're literally out
in
here.
my homeland of
in your homeland.
Beverly Hills, California.
That's right. You're talking
90210.
about. There's a sushi place that has what's the phone number?
Sushi KO. You can call them at 310-274-FISH.
Call them up.
I legit want to buy that number off them. 274, the OG Beverly Hills prefix.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll put someone onto a hot tip. My friend pointed it out to me.
Okay.
Because I keep it real with people. They'll always be like, oh, you're from LA? Like, where are you from? And I always just say Beverly Hills. And that is a conversation ender. Unless people are also from there. Because if you're from here and you know the area, you know there's a lot to it.
Right.
I'm not
Why?
saying
Because
they
just assume you're insanely...
I'm not like from the hood of Beverly Hills, but I'm like... it's where I'm from, and I'm not out here trying to lie. I was born in West Hollywood, but I'm from Beverly Hills.
Right.
And then my friend, Stevie B, he was like, dude, whenever I don't want to talk to someone and they ask me where I'm from, I just say that. And it's just an
Beverly Hills.
Yeah. But
no
I mean,
response.
How many great DJs are from Beverly Hills, you know?
There's probably quite a few, or maybe just one. You.
I mean, we got The Alchemist. We got...
Oh, yes.
You're from...
So I was as well born... Well, what are you considering West... I was born Cedars-Sinai.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. That's West Hollywood.
1 block east of Beverly Hills.
Exactly. So that's why they say, where are you from? I'm like, Hollywood. And then people are like, wait, what do you mean? And I'm like, I was literally born like across from Jerry's Deli at Cedars-Sinai. I grew up Laurel Canyon, this like hippie community up in the hills.
You're from West Hollywood.
I'm from West Hollywood, I'm literally from Hollywood.
Los Angeles.
Which is also a weird, nobody can understand what I'm saying when I say that.
But you're right. I think my favorite thing you said in the intro is that I rep LA, which I really do.
I know.
My civic pride is very strong.
Yes.
Even in these times of wild decline, I feel like we're turning into
LA's crazy,
an interesting place, and I don't know that there's any thing to be done about it.
Right,
but
yeah,
I do love it here, and when it's at its best, it's the best place to be.
It is. And it also has funny elements, like we were discussing the John Mulaney show they just did on Netflix, and he gave this monologue, and he shows all of LA at all the parts and just says, it's crazy that someone expects one mayor to rule all of this, because it's impossible for one person. You look at this
and you think, no mayor, right?
No mayor, right? Like I went to go meet a mutual friend downtown for lunch, and downtown, for anyone listening that is not from here and has not been here, I don't know, downtown is probably not what you think it is in Los Angeles. It's
not.
It's insane.
That's how they trick people. You don't even need a car.
Yeah. I mean,
and you might not want one because it will just get its windows smashed.
Oh my God.
night. I
There's
was so
crazy
happy.
people,
I came out of a warehouse on Sunday night and my car had in fact been broken into.
Oh.
But
this Sunday.
somehow windows unsmashed. And I
Oh.
was just like, they must have Slim Jimmed it old school. I was just like, thank you.
I seriously thank.
Because there's nothing
No,
in there.
for real. I thank the burglars when they don't smash the windows because
It's
even
so inconvenient.
I want to write a thing like, please tell me if you want to steal the things. I would much rather open the door for
I
you
leave my
than
door
have to
unlocked
go
as much as I can.
Please. So many times the window's broken. I'm like, I have to deal with that now. I'd much rather have you steal whatever was in here.
The glass cleaning.
It's so annoying.
The one drive with the no window.
Please, that's our plea to you guys
That's our
out
plea.
there.
If
I
you
know
can
all the
hear
people
us.
that break into the cars listen to this podcast. Don't break the window. Just hit us up, knock on the door. We'll open the door for you. We'll give you
And
the
John
car.
Mulaney, if you're hearing this podcast, hit us up. I feel
Yeah.
like we have a lot to talk about.
John, we're here to give you a bit more insight. You seem to understand things, but I don't think you totally understood everything.
We
you
get
know?
into DJ stuff.
The coyote shit was kind of funny. I mean,
Incredible.
That's where I live in Coyoteville. But
there was on that show, it was very close to home, the palm tree expert, Amanda Bagley, one of the first people I ever smoked weed with in my life.
Oh my God.
She taught me what 420 was.
Amazing.
And then the cigarette therapist was referred to me by DJ AM when he quit smoking. And I went to see him.
Oh my God.
And he still has that crazy hair and all that. I guess now his list of celebrities. Back then it was just Charlize Theron.
And then he hit AM and went up.
Well, it worked. I remember I was in the booth at Banana Split and AM had been there for like 7 minutes and not lit a cigarette. And I was just like, dude, did you quit smoking? Because remember how that used to be? Like you couldn't smoke in any clubs.
Right.
But AM owned LAX.
So he would just light up
and he would
immediately.
just walk in and it was just like, oh, I need to smoke my dog, bro.
Smoke my dog.
Yeah. He always called it his dog.
That's amazing. Wow. Okay. Well, yes. That show had a lot of LA things. I didn't know that connection. I mean, the last episode, people go listen back. We don't need to go too far deep into it, but you talk about your connection to Bob Odenkirk and Mr. Show, and it's pretty incredible.
We covered that?
We covered
good,
that.
Good.
Deep.
Did we cover Banana Split in our meeting there and
I
everything?
don't know. Honestly, I listened to about an hour, and then I didn't listen to the rest, and it's a 2-hour episode, but I don't
It
think...
should go on record that we met at Banana Split.
Yes, I think we talk a little bit about it, but I do remember talking to you before the episode and saying, like, we're not going to talk about too many AM stories or Banana Split. Because I also think you would...
Because it's pretty covered, I think, in a lot of
It
stuff.
is,
right?
but I don't know.
But we love to
especially
talk
not
about
like
it.
this, you
People
know.
love
So
to hear it. Because I had just done Crooked's
Road podcast.
Yeah, I just done the Road, and we talked.
So
explicitly
we talked about it a bit. You talked about like my Tried by 12 remix and Steve Wonder's like, you know, Mr. Postman and
Banana
like,
Split classic,
all that
and
stuff.
Steve Wonder's the leader of the pack.
Leader of the pack. That's
on
what
record
it was.
as DJ AM's favorite Baltimore club remix.
And I'm still telling Steve, make your Patreon. You got people to be fans of you,
right?
Buddy. Okay.
Mashup master.
Exactly.
Shout out.
Instead, he's
Steve
sending me
Wonder.
weird memes. Come on, Steve, do it. Actually, yeah. So, we discussed it, but I think it would be nice to get deeper into it. I don't know. I mean, we could. Well, let's get into that. I mean, something that could lead into that, and we could go back in time from that could be interesting was that I posted something a couple days ago, and kind of my start was winning this. I'd been DJing 10 years at this point, but winning a contest through BPM magazine called Next on the Decks, and I got to go
tour with Mark Ronson.
Yes, and all these things, and this guy Kango, shout to DJ Kango from Tokyo, was at this Miami show where I opened for Mark Ronson and DJ AM at Mansion, and he just sent me the flyer last week. I'd never seen it. It was pretty incredible. And he wrote me like, I was there. I was excited as a child. And I think it was like a translation thing, but I'm like, me too. It was the most perfect it was the most perfect description ever, because I'm like, yes, I would never say that, but I was excited as a child too.
I was excited as a child. No,
So,
I remember it specifically because those days I feel like emotionally me and a lot of other DJs were in a different place.
Yeah.
I guess now they call it gatekeeping. Back then they just called it like making sure you had a fucking job. And and it was a thing where I was just like, I want to tour with Mark Ronson. Like, who's this guy? Like, who's this guy? Spider. And then I heard the mix that you made to win that contest, which is like so good.
Oh, thanks.
Still to this day. If you guys haven't heard it, the Spider Next on the Decks mix.
I should put it out on my SoundCloud.
Crazy. It's like cool open format, I feel like, before people were doing that.
I think I called it It's a Fucking Party Mix or something.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's brilliant.
Thank you. Well, yeah, so that happened, and that kind of got me associated with BPM Magazine and doing things, which then led to, I think, the final issue of BPM Magazine, or maybe towards the end of it.
Was that a late issue?
I think it was a late issue, because also I think it was, AM wasn't around too much longer after that cover was taken. And we're coming up on 15 years of him not being around. And I only know that because
In a few months, yeah.
It's my 15-year wedding anniversary, like in a week, basically. And he was there, and I remember it was the same year, August. So
yeah, August 2009.
Yeah, exactly. So crazy. The fact that I even still think about him every single time I DJ, every single time I play a song.
I can't look at a pair of shoes without thinking about it. I mean,
shoes,
2 seconds ago we were talking about shoes, and I'm like,
it's insane.
AM would have loved those.
Exactly. So, and I think a lot of the younger DJs don't understand that influence and that part of it. You know what I mean? And
well, he'll be one of those guys, and I think it's good that they just re-released that documentary, which is now available again, I think, for the first time.
Right. I think Kevin Scott has different versions and extended versions and different things.
Yeah, there's new stuff. I haven't had I feel bad because I actually haven't gone back and watched it, but it's
there's new things. I know.
To relive tragedy like over and over and over again. But we do love to talk about the good times.
Yes, but so let's discuss the good times.
Anyone, if you are a young DJ and you do have question marks about who DJ AM is, just Google it, and you can do a little. You can do as much as a quick Wikipedia read, or you can watch an entire movie where yours truly looks great and sounds great and says really insightful stuff.
Yes, I agree with that. It was wonderful. So yeah, I mean, and there's so many things you can look up, and the DJ AM Lives page. There's so much stuff, and but that cover, there was they made a cover of the magazine, and I'm on it. Thank you, not bragging, but with an interesting group of people.
It is quite a collage.
It says like LA parties or something. I think that was the reason why we're all on it. But it's me, Pace Rock. Shout out to Pace Rock. Peanut Butter Wolf, Steve Aoki, DJ AM, DJ Fashion, and Marshall Barnes, I think, is the group of people.
Ranging from just happened to be there to the greatest of all time.
Yes.
To what is that man doing there? To arguably probably one of the most famous DJs
on the earth
who ever lived, who is also one of my least favorite DJs, but who is on the back of a really relevant face in the world of underground hip hop music, who likely doesn't want to be associated with any of this. Can you guess which ones are which? Put it together. And 2 of them who are just, total. And then obviously one of them being DJ Spider. 2 of them just really good guys and really good DJs that I'm totally neutral on.
Right. And not all of them fully LA based, too.
Definitely not.
Some Arizona, and some Miami,
Pace is from
Cleveland.
Cleveland?
I don't know.
Yeah, Pace is from Ohio originally.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Fashion's from Arizona.
Yeah.
But yeah, LA parties.
Yeah. LA parties. So that was an interesting cover, and I was, honored to be part of it with those people.
No, it is. It is really cool.
But yeah, such a crazy time. And I think that Banana Split was pre that cover and really, connected. That's what I'm saying. And so Banana Split started at LAX with Steve Aoki, DJ AM, and you.
And was sort of masterminded by Matt Colin, who previous to being, one of the managers at Dexstar was the marketing director for BPM Magazine.
Right, and is the manager of Steve Aoki and also put that cover together.
Absolutely. He put it all. I mean, he's the guy who put us in those rooms for sure.
Oh, he put me into my first amazing rooms. Those BPM parties were legendary. Very good. Yeah. And remember going to LAX and AM being there and having to open for Mark Ronson and Mark Ronson going, how do you have all these edits? And I was like, well, I can't get gigs. This is all I do. You know what I mean? Like when you have no life, you just make edits, but
That's true.
yeah, such a crazy time. And then just, sent me around. But that was, but yeah, exactly. So Banana Split, I mean, I don't know. Do you want to talk about that? How much do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about how that started or any sort of insane, memorable moments from it? Or
I mean, there's a lot of memorable moments. I think as time goes on, I do have a Instagram for it at Banana Split LAX, which I always have a plan to post something every Sunday.
Right.
I haven't done that yet.
In like 2
but
years.
I'm going to. I mean, I have the archive of the flyers. There's mixes recorded. There's also a
Okay.
SoundCloud where you can check out the sets. I really think, we sort of not invented. I guess, we were sort of doing what Hollertronics, a combination of like what Hollertronics was doing and what the Ed Banger guys were doing in Paris. Like we wanted to play like new hard French electro, but also like Baltimore club and like stuff with rap acapellas and house mashups with rap stuff.
Right.
Like cool open format. Like
and I think the
hip open format.
Exactly. And the bridge was you, but in between Steve Aoki and AM and you, it was like this insane
someone needed
bridge.
to be there when the doors opened to play music.
Right.
That was my sale to them.
Yeah.
Like, because Matt had it set up where it was just going to be like, Steve and Adam all night.
Right.
And Cobra Snake's going to take
And
pictures.
a keg on the
I'm
dance
like, cool.
floor.
Who's going to be there at 10?
Yeah. Right.
That was my sale. I was like, I want to be a resident of this party because I helped come up with the idea for it.
Yeah.
And then Adam was like, well, like, when would you play? I was like, are you going to be there every week at 10?
Yeah,
like,
he would always
actually,
roll
he's
in
like,
like a cool guy. So would
Yeah.
Steve Aoki.
And then eventually, as they started doing more, they started like not even being there sometimes. So then that's when I got to.
And the guests were absolutely
Nuts. If you look at the flyer
Like, what,
archive,
Justice. I mean,
just everyone from Justice.
everyone that's huge at Coachella on the main stage now, basically.
Definitely. I mean, we had Justice. It was. I mean, there was a song. There was like a Crookers remix of a Busy P song where Merce is rapping about being able to get in to LAX on a Sunday like easily
That's so
and
funny.
stuff like that. And he he talks about AM and Steve Aoki and everything. And then but it was wait, what were we
Oh, just Banana Split and the bridge of everything kind of together, I think, and how, I'm sure
the people who perform there. Yeah.
Oh, the people that perform.
We had Lady Gaga. We had before I knew who she was, we definitely had Kesha.
Oh yeah.
And those are just the people I'm not proud that we had. Like, not that I'm not, that's not exciting, but it's like not what I wanted to do with the party.
No, there was
but
incredible.
when I look back at that stuff, I'm like, that is bragging rights, I feel like.
For
you know
sure.
what I mean? It's like,
and it was the evolution of AM getting into that kind of music, even Steve Aoki getting into that kind of music. I mean, Steve Aoki was called Kid Millionaire, basically, and was also doing open format things. AM was the Hollywood guy, would come there from whatever.
When we started that party, Steve Aoki had like recently gotten Serato.
Yeah.
Which was exciting.
Right.
Because I assure you, hearing Steve Aoki play on vinyl was not a treat. But it was, he was, figuring stuff out and, wanted to do, because he had another night at LAX called like Hot Lava or something. It was him and Sam Spiegel.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, as everyone knew at that time, being linked in with DJ AM was a great way to do anything. We were all very lucky to be associated
100%.
with him.
And I think AM wanted to really, that was a night to experiment, right? Like,
That was
I remember
the
in the
idea.
beginning, he would almost do his like Hollywoody routines, and then
He would get nervous a little bit.
yes, and then he would get nervous. You'd hear him
he
do
would
that
see
same
the people
thing
around him,
right? And
He'd
he'd be like, "I'm doing Sweet Home Alabama with the drums," and then people are like, "You don't have to do that. Like, play the We Are Your Friends song." Or
Well,
something.
I remember that was also, the lines in music were not so united back then.
Yeah,
Like I was working with a lot of streetwear guys at the time and was on, the early days of Fairfax and working with like the Hundreds and stuff like that. And it was a thing where like people would be like, yo, what's up with that Sunday night? Like you play that weirdo shit.
yeah.
Like,
oh, when I went to
and
Vegas,
I was just like, what do you mean? They're just like, yeah, like what is that? Because also there wasn't even really a name yet for like the new school of like electro.
not at all.
Like in 06, 07, it was like, it wasn't house music.
yeah,
It was barely dance music. People were just going nuts.
I went to Vegas and they told me I had to try out at like Tao, and the booking guy was like, "Don't play any of that LA electro bullshit." And I was like, "Okay." Like he wanted maybe like World Hold On, Bob Sinclair was the only like thing with a 4 on the floor beat.
Yeah,
but
there was not. I mean, back then, things with 4/4 you could play like 15 minutes tops,
maybe
just the hits.
Right.
It was like One More Time.
Right.
And even that, like, edited versions.
Yeah, if you
like,
needed up tempo, it was like Outcast, Way You Move, and like Lose Control, Missy type BPM things, right?
very few 4/4
Yeah.
kind of things allowed.
So and it was called LA
Which is
Electro
wild
bullshit.
now because all
Every-
those clubs now is just that, right?
And every DJ that comes out basically becomes a producer that makes that kind of music, and that's how they tour the
DJ
world.
Vice is a massive electronic music DJ.
Yeah, I mean, and every DJ coming up, like do you know any DJs that want to be an open format DJ coming up anymore? Like when we came up, everyone wanted to do that.
I don't even know if I know any open format DJs.
I know.
I'm not allowed in those clubs, I think, after the stories I told last time.
Yeah, head back to the last podcast. To hear that. But it's not a thing. They want to know Ableton. They want to produce, and they want to be a John Summit kind of person.
Yeah. Well, I think DJ AM had a lot to do with what we wanted to do.
You're right.
In those times, he
was beyond
because what he was
inspirational.
doing on vinyl was impossible for most of us to replicate.
Yes.
And then he was sort of the guy who told us all about Serato.
Yeah.
And then what he was doing on Serato, although it was not possible to be as good as him, you could at least kind of imitate that style. And I think that really dictated open for you. You could scratch it up, you could do acapellas, you had your cue points, it was more accessible to do like what you could do on a 4-track mixer.
Yeah.
Live.
And you could get the edit of that wasn't available on like a record.
Well, you could make something at home and bring it.
Yeah.
So, you could make mashups, you could do whatever you needed.
Crooklyn Clan.
And so that was, I think, at the time, the most interesting thing about DJing. But now that you can self-release, now with like DistroKid and whatever else, and I mean, even like you guys here, I mean, Beatsource, Beatport, all of these places where you can make something one day, you could literally release it 4 or 5 days later, just depending on how good you want it to be or whatever. Like
it's true.
I think that's a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, and with the internet, I mean, there was no like we wouldn't post like MySpace hadn't even really come out yet, I don't think, or it was the beginning of it, or maybe, but it was
I remember that was a very exciting revelation when they had the music player, and you could download like a 128.
MySpace and the music player were around the time Banana Split came out, and that was the way we could share the music. So
that was my first song I got on Palms Out Sounds Remix Sundays.
My God,
I didn't even know who they were, but they downloaded it off my MySpace. It was my Blood Arm edit, and it went up there, and I was like,
so dope.
Oh man, it's so cool.
Hype machine. Yeah, there was all those blogs we would go on, like even
those
DJ
were great
pools.
days. But I will say one of the things that I feel like we could cover is that on that topic, the idea that producing music is going to help you get gigs. I feel like it's something that has been really instilled in people.
Yeah.
And I've had a very much opposite experience in my life.
Okay.
Where like when I didn't really become a prolific music producer until I was like well into my 30s.
Right.
Because I felt like my DJ career was stagnant. And that was the advice that I got from every agent and manager, and anyone was just like, you got to produce, you got to produce, you got to produce. And like in those years, like in between like 2012 and 2015, I probably like produced and released like something to the tune of like 300 songs between Camo UFOs, Pools, Brillstein, myself, the edits, 15th, like all these.
Right. And every genre.
Everyone should check out all of those different things I just said.
It's true.
All really great.
They're all dope. But I mean, they range from down tempo, trip hop, hip hoppy type stuff to jungle drum and bass to house music.
Yeah. I mean, I was covering the craps table, like, you know what I mean? It was just like,
you hit every number on the roulette.
Chips. And I had hits in all of
you're right.
With every one of those things. And I had never had less gigs than while all of that was going on.
So then why do you think that?
Based on that. Because the main thing that I didn't really put stuff out under, I guess, was my own name, which now that I say that out loud might have been the problem.
True.
But it wasn't like as Brillstein, I had some really big records, but I wasn't getting a lot of bookings to do that. You know,
do you think if you just focus, like I
records.
see now too, it's people will just focus on one thing only. I mean, maybe because we're so
Maybe
used to
that's
loving all kinds of music and being open format or, you know, loving all genres, like it's hard to focus in on one thing. But that is interesting. Everyone says you need to produce.
I think it's a different experience.
There's so many different things. And also same with me. Like I've made this career off playing other people's music and, you know, I know how to produce.
I've
I've
made a ton of stuff though.
I have, but I don't get
really
booked off of it.
recognized as a producer or for your production.
Right.
As much as other DJs will play that stuff and that you are, you know, prolific.
And somehow I can still go, like I just was in Singapore, you know what I mean? And I'm meeting with these younger DJs and they somehow know things about me.
Well, that's what I mean.
And I'm like, that's crazy. And they're not saying like, I play that track, you know, so.
I'm absolutely playing currently more than ever before. I'm covering more ground than ever in my life. I'm very happy to be where I am, incredibly grateful, and shout out to everyone who's helping that happen. But like, I'm not really on those stages playing very much of my music. Maybe the Blondie edit that I did with Oliver. Because
I mean, I play that every week of my life.
To the DJ community, on behalf of myself and Oliver, you're welcome. I think we're almost at like 2 million plays on SoundCloud or something.
And 2 billion on DJs. You know, I mean, it's everybody loves that. It's so good. It's like I can mix it with so many different things. You guys made those crazy breaks, so I'll mix it with everything from like Robin, you know, or an 80s song, anything that has like a do like thing. I have these breaks I do with it. I'll mix it with a Drake song. I'll put
a routine.
Everything.
You know what
I got multiple routines with it.
Don't forget to tag me. And to everyone who doesn't have it or doesn't know what we're talking about, it is actively available on my Bandcamp.
Oh, okay.
dmikeb.bandcamp.com.
It's so good
for all of your needs.
And you'll have many needs for it.
Beatsource, let's go.
It's gotten me gigs. I mean, I remember playing. I did this mix with it with this Drake song, and I pulled and the bass line came in, and then I pulled the bass line of the other one, and this lady like, I need your info. Like, I work for the richest guy ever, and he wants to hire you now.
I knew
you played Blondie. I'm like, let's go. So I owe you some of that.
I knew we did it right when like shortly after we dropped it, because I set like an alert for it because of my vanity, and and it came up in a playlist that like Boy George had played it in a
my God
80s remix set, and I was like, okay, I feel like that's like kind of a thing.
How do you set an alert? Just a Google alert?
You just like a Google, or it just said like, you know, like Heart of Glass D-Mike B remix or whatever it was.
I set
just so you know, I just like to see who's playing stuff. And
that's actually I've never thought to do that. That's what a good idea.
Yeah, because you're like too busy like not being obsessed with yourself.
No, I put one for my name. I think this is why I've never done it, because I put my real name into the internet and put a Google alert, and somehow it's a funeral home in Nebraska, and so now I just get endless alerts of like Ethel Johnson.
Well, they don't always work. The things with my actual name in quotations comes up the best. But like, for example,
but it was good to put your
as
edit.
15th, we put out a record on Fool's Gold that was called Tomorrow. So my search for 15th Tomorrow was like, I had to turn that one off, because every time it was like, tomorrow on the 15th, we will be like,
that's hard. That was what, with Sammy Bananas?
That was Sammy Bananas, yeah.
Wow, you've had so many projects. It's insane.
They did.
But that is so interesting. And I think that does kind of lead to something else we were talking about with like doing the cool gigs versus doing the wedding gigs, making money as a DJ, doing, you know, that kind of world. Like, are you supposed to say no to things?
Together the fees of like one very successful DJ by like doing all of them like every week.
That's
where like
sort of me too. That's how I explain. They go, "What do you do?" Like all like, because I'm a dad, and like the other parents are like, "So you're a DJ? What do you do?" And I'm like, think about a pie chart. I'm like, I have a lot of things that go into this thing. And
but
I go,
what's the Venn diagram? What's in the middle? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm like, the DJing is the sun. I go, but I mean, I'll do a thing with Travis Barker on the drums. I'll tour with Blink 182 if they ask me to do it. I'll do a corporate gig. I'll do a wedding. I'll do a nightclub. I'll do a podcast.
When you can fit, when you can make it all work together, though. Like if you can go and do like a premiere thing from like 7 to 10 p.m., but then still go, and then you can be like, yeah, I'll do something cool for, you know, a fifth of the money that same night, where then you now have a Friday night open and you can go do it.
Wow.
For example, we were in Hawaii last week to do Electric Feels.
Yeah, which we need to talk about.
Jeremy Burke and I went when it was done and did like the coolest after hours.
I saw that
in Honolulu.
Yeah, what's
so
it called?
It was like it's called Ether.
Oh, okay.
And we were doing that with the Dirty Feet crew and my guy Chance King out there. They're very, very good posse of
amazing
young DJs and producers out in Honolulu. And then Electric Feels, for people who don't know about it, is a party that currently is only touring around America, but I feel like we're going to start getting into Canada this year and hopefully Europe and stuff.
Yeah.
That you've played.
I've played
a
it
few times, right?
Yeah, quite a few times.
Did you do Area 15?
I did do Area 15.
How crazy is that?
One of the most fun nights of my life. I will say.
Had you played there before?
I had not played there. I'd never been there before.
Amazing is that place, and that's now me talking about Las Vegas. I love that place,
dude. It's so
the
incredible.
First place I've ever loved playing in Las Vegas.
I know what you mean. I mean, I had the greatest time. Like, it looks like you're looking over a Coachella tent. Like,
it just feels like a big festival stage.
The energy's
but there's
unreal.
Not other stuff going on.
Yeah,
so you're like,
it's amazing. And so what Jeremy Burke has done with this party is pretty incredible. I think that, you know, it can have elements of the banana split-ish thing in the terms of the...
There's a common misconception that it is a blog house party.
Yes, and it's not.
It is a indie rock and indie dance party.
Right.
And almost... it's not just remixes. I mean, we're playing Strokes, Franz Ferdinand, the original Glass Animals album cuts.
Right.
It's just people think it's a remix because they're not used to hearing that kind of music on a huge rig. So it's like, oh, this song has bass, like when it's not just coming out of my phone, you know?
That's true.
But it's so much fun to put together those sets because it's like still, I think open format, like within confines, is even more fun. It's like, what is an electric feel? You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
we play pop music too, like even some things that wouldn't be considered indie, but it's like the things that feel that way.
Yes.
Like Harry Styles, As It Was, like,
exactly.
That's obviously a pop record, but if, you know, that's an electric feel.
Yeah, like The Weeknd,
sure.
Save Your Tears, you know, it sounds like an 80s song. Like, you have the liberty to, like, be creative as a DJ and bring in the new songs.
It's about the vibes, like good vibes,
exactly.
I think is what makes that party.
Yes.
I think Jeremy says that, too, when we're playing. He's like, we're about good music and good vibes.
Right.
And it's like, what if it's cheesy or if it's like whatever it is, as long as it fits the vibe.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the only time that I ever see him get like kind of bummed is when he's just like, why is he playing this? You know?
Right. Yeah, I get that. I know.
But you know, it's always unannounced. So it's just like, it's about the party,
DJs are unannounced.
Which is cool.
It's just the party, electric feels.
You know, so it's like a treat for people when they see people like you or like, you know, I've done it. Fashion has done it. Grand Theft, DJ Equal, Stevie B. You know, a lot of great DJs. I think Nicky Nighttime played one, like a guy from Cut Copy in the early days. But it's just like a bonus treat. And that's not what people are there for. They're there to hear their favorite songs and sing along and dance.
Right.
And just like, they're excited.
Oh, so excited. And it's the greatest energy ever. Like, it's the ultimate two-way street of, like, they can just hype you up to a point of feeling so confident and good.
I know,
and
right?
You can do anything.
And then you can go and literally walk through the crowd and they have no idea
who you are.
That you're on stage, because we actually make a point of doing the lighting so that you're kind of silhouetted.
Right. That's dope. I love that.
You know,
I didn't realize that's why nobody knows who I am.
No, it's really a thing where I do a thing where
I go, don't you know who this is?
When I'm playing the last song, you know, I'll usually play like something kind of emotional, and I'll go out and I'll walk from behind the stage and I'll walk up right behind the rail riders, like the people in the front row. And sometimes I'll put my arm around them and they're like, oh my God, I love you, man. But other times I'll put my arm around them and they're like, who are you, bro? Like, why are you putting your arm around me? I'm like, you've been staring directly into my eyes for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, really?
And I think that's hilarious. Also, another like misconception in a way is that, or just something that people don't understand is that they're not a DJ culture crowd per se. No. Like, they're a band culture crowd in a way, and it's a ticketed event.
Barely. I think
they've barely gone out in their life.
That's what makes the crowd so excited. Is I think when we were younger, you would go out and not know how to act and have to learn over the course of many years.
Yes.
And not that there's these crowds necessarily, quote unquote, know how to act, but they see videos of Coachella. They see videos of EDC.
Right.
You see videos of people, I think, see these videos of festivals, so they know that you go, you get as close to the rail as you can, and that you face it up, and when the DJ addresses you, you scream back, and
it's
you
so
do
true.
whatever they say. Like I made them like say something for my, like one day it was like I was on the mic and I was just like, I was out of town and my friends were doing something and I was just like, on the count of 3, I need everyone to say, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they did. And I sent my friends the video and they're like, how'd you do that? I was like, I can make them say anything.
I saw the Hawaii. You guys were just in Hawaii, and that's how you're like, man, had them say like chee-hoo.
That's my favorite kind of colloquialism out in
It's incredible.
on the island. It just basically is like, let's go.
But that's why also as a DJ, you have to relearn to DJ to that kind of crowd is what I learned there, because they
need attention. If you look down and do DJ stuff for too long, like,
they don't know what you're doing.
They're bored.
Yeah, they're bored. And also, if you cut the songs off or you DJ it too much, you remix it too much, it's kind of annoying and ruins the song. You have
to let it breathe, but you also can't like let it live.
Yes.
Like, you have to like.
That's so true. And like,
You know?
because some of the songs you could play beginning to end as if it was on a Spotify playlist, and they would clap at the end. And you'd be like, thank you so much. Mm-hmm. But some stuff you have to only play the parts they know. And especially if you're being brought out there at a later time and you're trying to really do DJ shit, you have to be careful with how much DJ shit you're doing.
It's very cool. And I think, and shout out to Jeremy Burke for sure for.
Yes.
I mean, he did, before he even started bringing guys like us around, he did that party for 4 or 5 years just on his own. And
I know. I'd love to have him on to learn how that even started.
Created that, not like that format, but like the way that the party is shaped. The stuff he plays in the beginning, the stuff he plays in the middle, the stuff he plays. I mean, it's forever evolving. But I did notice, like the first time I went and saw him play that party, I was like, for a DJ who doesn't have at the time didn't have a ton of DJ experience. Right. I was like, this is really sick.
Yeah.
Like what he's doing. And so shout out to Jeremy Burke. And I've talked to him about it. I'm like, dude, you got to be doing more stuff. Cause like, that's why it was fun to have him play with me in Honolulu.
Yeah.
It's like he got to play his version of like an after hours dance music set. And so he got
because he has a very specific vision on how this stuff should go, like you said, and he's not afraid to stand in front of 1,000 people that have just bought tickets and
he's
play
way ahead of the
very
game.
Mellow songs or very eclectic kind of stuff in a certain way. And like you said, he's gotten better and better DJ skill wise, I think, with watching people and just having the experiences.
Absolutely.
And so it's cool to see.
Because he is a festival guy. I just went to Coachella with Jeremy this last year.
That's like his life.
And he is a professional man about, you know what I mean? It's just like, got to be here at this time. Yeah. I would get separated from the group because I'm like, I'm just like, well, I want a corn dog. So you guys keep going. And I'm going to go sit over here for a while. And it's like 2 minutes I was gone. It's just like, dude, where are you?
Right.
We're leaving Barry Can't Swim and we're going to this Applestein. Like whatever. It was always like.
Yeah.
It's but it's, I get it. Like people, and I think that's the crowd that he curates that music for is like, well, that's what he calls it. He's like, it's a festival vibe. But,
it is.
An intimate party.
And that's why Area 15 is where he gets to do the real festival vibe.
Whew, dude. I mean, that's when there was enough people in the, like, when there's enough people in the audience that like someone like actually knows who I am, I get like, it was exciting. Like when we did the first Area 15 one, he was just like, and we got a special guest for you, blah, blah. And I'm coming up on stage and these like guys off on the right are like, it's D Mike B. And I was just like, that's when you got enough people in the crowd.
Yeah.
I think that's my percentage. It's like at 2,500 people, there's 2 dudes who definitely know who I am.
No, you definitely have more than that. But yes. But he does it here at Echoplex, which is fairly small, compared to these places that he does. House of Blues Anaheim, House of Blues.
So we do it in rock
San Diego.
venues.
Rock venues that other bands and rappers play that are ticketed that he sells out. I mean, it's pretty
Which
nuts.
is funny because it sort of counteracts what like Kid Cut Up was saying last week about people, like most people aren't on like a festival stage or something like that, right? Like what was the statement? Something similar to that.
I forgot, and yes.
Where I was just like, weirdly enough, I'm like feel like I'm constantly on one.
Right.
But I'm also like, how? Because I'm just up there like schwitzing, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like
yes. It also just shows how
I did
wide
4 sets at Hard Summer last year. It was 95 degrees, and I played before like Skrillex, and I played. I did one before Skrillex, one before Black Coffee, one before Dylan Francis, and one And I'm just like, and everyone's just like cheering, and there's totems and blah blah blah, and I was just like, oh, it's so hot up here.
I saw the lineup every time and where they put you for everyone. I'm like, he's the perfect person to be between all.
Force that.
You were before every massive headliner every single night, and like it was such a perfect.
It's the first time anyone ever started a Reddit about me. That was what I got it in my personal. It was just like, who the fuck is the Mike B, and why does he have 4 sets? Why does he have a set before every headliner at Heart?
And then just go and you'll find out.
The responses are just like, I don't know, but like a bunch of big guys. Skrillex follows him, so maybe he's a
right. He gets followed.
That's what I get said to the most by strangers in clubs who are like, "What's your Instagram?" And I say so and so. They're just like, "Skrillex, cool."
Oh my god, that's so funny. Me too.
It used to be Snoop Dogg, but I guess like Skrillex comes.
It shows up first. Yeah. Oh my god, I don't even know what I have, but that is like the culture we live in now, where someone gets my Instagram in a club and they go, "Oh, this person follows you." Okay, and then I'm like, "Yeah, okay." I don't know.
It is the thing. I was playing at the Ace Hotel in Palm Springs a couple weeks ago, and there was just like all these bachelorettes doing their like bright stuff out by the pool, and they're like, "That's the guy. He knows Skrillex." Shout out to Skrillex, who literally on each platform and he's followed me on as helped my numbers significantly.
As he should.
Who is also, one of the most talented music producers.
Insane. Just this week
ever at
right?
This point.
He's like, one of those magical beings, and he's out there with Fred again this last weekend.
Proof that you can do cool stuff and have that level of success. I feel like guys like him, Boys Noise, Fred again
is like becoming one of those people. Just what they went up there last weekend and bring Anderson .Paak and do a jungle track.
That new record is so dope.
Oh my god!
Should we talk about how it's actually the year of drum and bass?
Okay, yes. So,
happened.
So there's the new Fred Again record comes out, and Anderson .Paak is a drummer, so obviously they like sampled it. I was watching the videos leading up to it, and I listened to it. I'm like, I love this. Sounds like in a way old school jungle that I grew up on loving, and we talked about it on the last podcast, and you guys should listen. But we made a lot of predictions on the last podcast, and it was mid-pandemic, and I didn't hear them all to be able to bring up now, but one of them you were talking about Gabber House and how someone was telling you like and then we started talking about drum and bass and how someone was saying, when is going to be the year of drum and bass? And you were like, it will never happen.
Well, every year someone's like, this is going to be the year. But now it's like actually the year.
And I feel like no one said it this year. And all of a sudden, Chase and Status are like, hey, ba-da-don, ba-da-don. Yep. And then like Fred Again and like, leave me alone.
Literally
and like,
just a year ago, we were doing Electric Fields and Chase and Status. Well, we were in Minneapolis, and it was one of those venues that's like a multi-tiered, multi-room venue.
Right.
And we were in a room 3 times the size of Chase and Status.
Yes.
And that was just a year ago.
That's crazy.
But also, I've opened for Chase and Status at like Hollywood House of Blues. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, no, they're massive.
They've had a lot of ups and downs, and they have like, but I'm just saying, like,
I went to their Coachella
right now where they probably could sell out the Shrine.
Yeah.
Or
Well, they were in San Francisco, I think, the same weekend as the Fred Again thing. I was looking at the videos from their show, and I'm just like, I love to hear and see that. I mean, it's just like gives me chills,
And they finally, there was an amazing promo that they did for their last album because, in the UK, obviously they're referred to as Chase and Status.
Yes,
and,
Status.
And they had Jason Statham do the promo for their album. And they're like, it's Jason Statham. He's like Jason Statham, or like, I forget like what he says, but it's really
amazing.
Good. Shout out to those guys, and shout out to, their success and the rise of drum and bass. Sub Focus is the festival headlining, and
so dope,
and all those things, and Fred Again and Anderson .Paak are doing stuff, and Nina Archives, who, big respect to Nina Archives. If you haven't heard her, she is doing exactly what I was doing in 2009, except she's much younger and more fun.
Sometimes the timing, hits.
It's all timing. But if you like Nina Archives, which I know you do because she has so many fans, go check out Camo UFOs, which was the project that ran from maybe like 2009 through a couple years ago.
So good. And now your partner is a celebrity
juice guy. He's right over
maker,
here,
right?
At the Erewhon around the corner.
Have you guys heard of a Hailey Bieber smoothie?
I think he put it together.
He puts it together. Kendall Jenner, they coming to him for the smoothie.
All the smoothies.
Erewhon.
He is the juice guy.
How amazing is that? Like, I see him posting that stuff, and I'm like, from Camo UFOs to the celebrity smoothie, the most expensive smoothie in Los Angeles that goes viral all over the world. Which, like, I remember I did was doing some event right before the actors strike, and we're like, maybe for some big streaming service, and we're waiting around, and they were like, we're going to order some Hailey Bieber smoothies. And they order like 10 of them, and it was like $400 or something. And then the actors all go on strike the next day for like a year. And I'm like, we shouldn't order those fucking smoothies. It was like proving like we're spending way too much money on crap, and these guys aren't getting those smoothies. Ruined my job for like a year.
Here's proof that we're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, like I was out of work for a year after that, and not DJing premieres or anything, because all the people went on strike. Writers,
I had
actors.
an opposite thing where like I got to do a bunch of like Comic-Con gigs and stuff where I like never get booked last year because of all of the people who couldn't do the party. So they ended up hiring a bunch of like hipster cool promoters to just put together like
I saw that Frankie Chan.
Yeah, I did a thing with iHeart Comics for the Haunted House, and then I did a thing with Lights Down Low for like X-Men's like Fireball or whatever they call it. Oh my
God. That's amazing.
The Heroes Ball, or it was something like that.
I saw that,
which was really cool. Like, because it was just like, and I have so many friends that are like Comic-Con people and all this stuff, and it was great to be down there. Like the money is great,
San Diego,
and
right?
it's like I'm down there with like with real underground promoters doing commercial
corporate
stuff.
Like with money.
I didn't feel out of place,
right?
Because I was hired to do my thing at those parties, as opposed to like, we heard you're good, come in, and they're like, what are you doing?
Right, and the crowd attracts nerdy people, which are usually like cool music. It's a good combo.
Yeah, I mean, nerdy people for nerdy DJs is a good combo.
DJs are nerds, like we're supposed to be cool. Now you see these guys like with an 8-pack, and they're like in Ibiza, which more power to him.
I make no mistake, Diplo's still a nerd.
I'm not talking about him.
He cares about music probably more than any of us. That sexy motherfucker.
He's definitely incredible. Like as much shit as he is given, I have mad respect for him.
I don't know why he's given so much.
I
shit.
don't, because it's just
I
like
recently posted
when you get
a picture of him and I, and then like someone like wrote me a DM like, you're better than that. I was like, first of all, I'm not, and also like better than what? Am I better than Diplo? No. Am I better than posting a picture with Diplo? Definitely not.
Right.
And also like, what do you mean?
And what do you even know about this guy?
Why wouldn't I ride for a guy who is one of us, who is doing things on the highest level possible? Like, is that not what we all want for ourselves? Is to be our age and be that sexy and that successful and that well known while still doing dope shit, and you can go literally anywhere, anytime, and play whatever you want?
It's a good description. And have so many side projects.
Major Lazer and country music and best friends with Miley Cyrus and whatever the fuck else that guy does.
And still be ridiculous on social media, make dumb jokes and do whatever you want.
And be somehow uncancelable because you like lean into it. Like, God bless that guy.
I agree.
And again, like, we all just like, I mean, he will come off a main stage and will come somewhere else and he'll back to back with me, and like, God bless it.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's phones go up, but like, also like, hey, there's a lot of who's that guy with Diplo, but at least they're asking the questions.
Right. I mean, it's that AM. It just has the same AM thing, right?
That's
like AM had that.
Yeah. Am I better than posting pictures with people that will get me recognition that I feel I'm not receiving? No, absolutely not. I will do it every time. 10 times out of 10. I will take that option.
I mean, AM had that's a good option. But it was like you'd be around AM and he was like famous to certain people for certain things. Yeah. But we all knew who he was and why he did what he did.
Absolutely.
And where he came from. And so that was the real.
Well, that was a lot of what we did Banana Split for, was to sort of counteract the Us Weekly factor.
Yes.
And like be like, no, like, you don't understand. This guy cares about music and is the best. So.
Yes, totally. And then Paris Hilton would still follow him in there.
And then Paris Hilton came in. And that was always when it got tricky, because Matt would be like, so good for us that Paris here. I was like, is it? Is that not what we're like trying to undo? But it's like, no, but now like Paris is doing cool stuff. I'm like, oh, but
it's tough.
Now Lady Gaga's playing and stuff.
I mean, it's oh my God. Having celebrities in the club is a tricky
and knowing what's cool is a tricky thing. That's why literally God bless Electric Fields and God bless underground house music, which are kind of my two main sources of, happiness and income right now, because what is actually cool and what is the definition of, new is real confusing to me right now.
True.
Like I will play, like people will be like, do you have the new Lil Yachty? And I'll be like, this one. They're like, dude, that one's old. I'm like, this came out 6 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like it's like, but it's not like the one
I know
that came out that day. But then also, I feel like you don't even have to play any new music because in like an open format environment, I feel like Blow the Whistle still goes harder than
20 years ago.
Anything
songs.
you know what I mean? Like, and there's so much stuff. It used to be like you had to touch on certain things.
And the new things.
And I can still somehow get away with playing a full night of open format with 0 Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Because there's enough music to do it.
Yes.
Much to the chagrin. And no ABBA.
That's to the chagrin of the phone holder uppers.
The phone holders.
Everybody phones go up. Bad Bunny.
The phone holders. Shout out to the phone holders. I've literally I made a girl so upset. Like I was just like, there was a girl who just been like holding her phone up the whole night. And like, I try not to alienate people while I'm DJing, but
me too.
As you know, there is a certain point at which point it's just like, no, I will not make out with you. Like someone needs to be,
right.
alienated, which is something I've turned down the mic and said like the third time someone come up the first time, can you play blah, blah, blah? And then the second time I'm like, I'm like, Lo, you got to stop. And then the third time they're like, you haven't played my, like cut the music. No, I will not make out with you. Do a full Billy Madison. And then they just like run away from the booth.
That is the best technique ever. Shouldn't have given that out.
Well, I encourage everyone to do it because at a certain point, alienation is the only way to get someone to leave you alone. So this girl was holding up her phone all night, and I don't know what it said because the fact is, when there's 50 lights and lasers shooting you in the eyes, and someone's holding up and they don't have it in the hue. Not that I'm encouraging anyone to figure out how to really make it so I can read it. Just don't make me read while I'm DJing, please. Yeah. I'm already got enough going on. But she just held it up and she was just holding it up for so long. I was just like, she's been here for 2 hours. She paid to get in here. And like, I get it. But on the one hand, like I kind of wanted to put her arm down and have a better time. Yes. And so I just cut the music real quick. And I was just like, put it down. I'm not going to read that shit. And then she was just like, she was like trying to jump over the rail. Like she was like, I could like feel her kind of like welling up because also like no one wants to get, yelled at in front of 1,000 people. But
I know.
So to that person, I'm sorry. And also, you're welcome.
You learned your damn lesson.
Yeah. Or you give her the spider arm.
Yes.
But that's, when you're on stage, at least you don't have people like.
Yeah, we're in the boiler room days. People need to actually learn that. I need to start a class for all the new DJs.
Clubs are starting to do that now.
Yeah.
It was
because they want to have the cool videos for later.
Because when Boiler Room first came out, I was very much like, this is not going to be good for us. Like, this is encouraging.
I've seen Cascade talking about it. Like, make DJ booths empty again.
Well-lit DJ booths is I'm someone who thrives in the darkness. Like,
yes, we don't need well-lit DJ booths.
Bald fat man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I am not meant to be well-lit.
Right.
And with cameras like under my chin and going up my nose. You know what I mean? Like there's
I've had the same thoughts. I'm like, why are they putting it down low?
Yeah.
The light angle?
Not a flattering angle. You know what I mean? And I remember thinking that when I came, I was like, I understand the popularity of this and it's making cool music accessible to people that aren't necessarily in big cities, and you can know what's happening from wherever. And then especially things like the K-Tronada one and things that sort of kind of redefine what a DJ set can be online, I think is very cool. So shout out to Boiler Room for that. But also, I think they edit the curses out of the show, right? F you to Boiler Room for
no, just on the clips. We can say whatever the fuck we want.
Fuck Boiler Room for popularizing the 360 DJ set, because that's now a thing where clubs are doing that. And they're building out DJ booths that are circular and that have created space for people to be like, up in you and stuff. And
I know.
Not that I have a problem with it, but it's just I have to think about what's going on with my butt, and I have to think about what's going on with my, you know what I mean? Like we all have our stance. Yes. We all have our way of standing that it's like.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's like stand behind A-Track and watch him DJ. You know what I mean? Like it's like he's meant to be watched from the front. Like it's a different vibe.
That's true.
And the same thing with me too, where I have my go-to move when I'm keeping the beat. We all have different ways of doing it. it looks like I'm fucking the shit out of the mixer. Like I do this thing where it's a hump thing where it's like from the front, you don't see it. If you look at it from the back, it's like the back of a porno shot. And I'm so self-conscious about it. And I try to remember not to do it because literally my friends who get to, if you have your friends sitting behind you and they send a video, that's a different thing. And you send it to the group chat, like, it looks like he's fucking the mixer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Haha.
But when you're like, when there's like, GoPros behind you and it's like a wide angle view, it's just like, ugh.
Right.
But again, whatever your stance is, it's your stance because that's what your body just does when you're thinking. It's like chewing a pencil or touching, having a tell. You know what I mean?
Being
Like
in the zone.
I don't have control over that. So,
yo, that's so funny.
Oh, boiler room.
I know, and also,
I guess with anything, with the good comes the bad.
Yes.
It's cool because it's an outlet for new music and it's so diverse and a lot of people get their life. I mean, look at Fred Again. Who knew who Fred Again was before?
Right. And Folamore.
That's how he got
like
to
that.
all of those. And and these are guys. Folamore is an amazing example of someone who is just getting away with absolute murder. Like most DJs are lucky if they can play a set like that in a small bar. I mean, he is playing classic, soulful, vocal, lower tempo, like 118 BPM, soulful, beautiful house music, which is like barely exists in the world anymore. So like, that he makes a place for it. But if you're not like that man in that hat playing that song, like that's not happening.
You have to have been on Boiler Room and wear that hat.
You create a vibe and you get, it's again, like,
you're right.
It's a hard world right now for a DJ who, I said that to my friend, to Virtual Normal, who they hook me up with shirts all the time, and I go in there and they're like, oh, you need like new stuff, and I'm just like, dude, like I get self-conscious. You get like photographed and seen and stuff. Like you don't just always want to be wearing the same thing, or you have to only be wearing the same thing.
Yeah, that A-Track did that for a while, I think.
But where it's in between.
Jacket.
Well, he's a man who's, he's got, presumably has like a stylist or something. I feel like he's always looking.
I think so.
He's got a look.
Yeah, but no, it's true. I'm going to do a gig and I'm going to do 5 days in a row with the same place, same thing. And I'm thinking, I want to post on the internet about it. I can't wear the same thing every single day. You know what I mean?
And you're talking to someone who has press shots. I mean, I get press shots maybe every like 5 years.
Oh yeah, like 8 years.
And when people are like, "Can you send a press pic for the flyer?" I'm like, "Oh, you could just use something recent off my Instagram." You know what I mean? They're like, "No, we want a high res and blah blah blah." So it's all just the same picture of me with a very old hairline doing the same thing.
My last one, I tried to do no logos. I'm just like, let's keep it black.
Right?
Because you
as long as you touch your sunglasses, that's what makes it an official press pic.
I know, that's true. The more, with one hand and look down.
Yeah, you gotta.
But yeah, we need new shirts, guys. Please, the more shirts we can be sent. We need 365 shirts.
Yeah, hook us up. Send them to Beatsource, care of DJ Spider. Anything you have in a triple. I mean, it's easy for me. People be like, "Why you always wear that company?" I'm like, they make a 3X. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, and I like this. Give me a long sleeve or give me a longer short sleeve. We don't need any of these short sleeve things going on, okay?
Oh, you don't want to show off your...
I don't have any guns to show off, guys.
When the sun's out, the gun's out. That's scientific.
That is true. Well, my guns... let's see how big I can get them for the summer.
I'll take my guns out.
See how big I can get them this summer.
Yeah.
DJs were never known for their guns, and now
they are.
They are, and it's hard. We used to, as much records as we carried, our guns were not growing.
Everyone from our generation looks like ghouls, and then like everyone else looks like real.
They work out so much. They have so much time, or they were growing up with time management or something. I don't know how they did it. They were taught time management, and kids don't drink anymore. I don't know what happens. Like I was talking to Morse Code. He's like, that video of you with the girl with the drinks over the turntable, that'll never be seen again because kids drinking is a relic. He's like, they don't drink alcohol anymore.
Really?
I mean, I think that younger people
Not
can be more.
Not the kids I'm DJing for. They're fucked up.
Well, maybe they're doing other things though.
Where is he playing that they're not drinking?
I don't know. We need him on here.
Yeah.
I do think I have noticed though that there's not as much binge drinking and debauchery drinking for kids. I know, but I think that they're known how bad it is.
So they're not just blacking
because
out
in the same way we're on Instagram with the same.
Well,
we're on Instagram with the same shirt. You're going to be on Instagram all fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
You learn your lesson.
Well,
being forced to look in the mirror will teach you a lesson.
Think about when we were rave. For those that don't know, Spider and I kind of come from the same generation of LA raving.
Yeah,
and
90s
there
ravers.
was zero liquor at any of those parties.
Oh yeah, water was like $10.
I mean, they were all ages parties, and obviously it would have been even more illegal if there was liquor. But people weren't even in the parking lot tailgating. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think I drank alcohol.
Yeah,
like
well,
I never tasted it.
I mean, we would have it. We would drink like 40s when we like went to the movies or like, but it was like,
or like
it
a
definitely
Mickey's,
wasn't like,
one.
oh, we're gonna go raving all night. And I'm not even talking about. I mean, obviously, I did a lot of like ecstasy and acid and all the things that came with raving in the 90s. But at a certain point, you don't. When you start to really love the music and get into the music, I think if you're like a lifetime music person or raver, you always hit that moment where you're like, oh, like I don't even need this anymore. Like I love it here. I mean, I want to hear the songs. I'm not just here to like make out in
literally
a puddle
coming
or
for
whatever.
those specific
like,
DJs.
It's like
and
I'm coming to
songs
see this
and
music. I'm coming to do this.
Totally.
I need to be able to drive my car.
Yes.
And I don't want to throw up. Like
I was the guy driving the car. I had the car, so I was like,
went
yo,
from like like pills and tabs and stuff to like nothing.
Right.
But drinking was never a part of it. It was all we had was water and smoothies.
Yes.
Smart drinks, as they called them back then.
Smart drinks. Yeah, that was what it was called.
Well, because it would amplify the effects of whatever you were on to have vitamin C, I think was the rumor.
And the LA sober thing was just to smoke weed.
Well, we didn't even have LA sober back then because weed was still like hard to get and very expensive.
Right. Yeah. You had to steal it from like that one rich kid's parents' closet or something.
Think about that. People were paying like $500 an ounce in like the 90s for weed.
Right.
Compounded.
Well, the only way to get it was
now like probably like over $1,000. Right? Like compound that with inflation or whatever.
No, I remember going to like some kid's parents and like the dad like had like 1-900 numbers, and like that was his like in 976 numbers, and like he was so rich and had like a house in the top of the Palisades, and if you snuck into this closet, they had these jars filled with orange peels and weed or something, and that's where you would find it. He was the guy that could afford $500 ounces of weed
with the orange peels,
and we were like, "What is this? It smells crazy!" And like you had to go to that guy's house because it was the dude that had the 900 numbers.
But that was also why you couldn't trust the strain that was called grapefruit, because that was the thing where people would take bad weed and put it in a jar with grapefruit peels, and they would be like, "Nah, this is the grapefruit, bro. It smells like grapefruit." But then it was just garbage that had been like.
I mean, people were doing ridiculous things back then. They were taking like keyboard cleaners and shooting it into their mouth, to get high and stuff. Like
guilty as charged.
See, I told you. So that was called like anything goes time.
Well, first of all, I mean, they had there's, I'm walking on sunshine. She was doing that, right? That was on, what was that called? What is it called? A dissertation. No, what's the show where they do the intervention?
Oh, God.
There was the girl who was doing
after that, I think.
The spray.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's
dark.
Dust off. That's dust off.
I'm walking on sunshine. Has anyone put that in a song yet? That's $1 million idea.
That is. Wow, that's dark, but yeah.
I don't know how dark I'm walking on sunshine is. I mean, yeah, it's dark to have to be
somebody being addicted to dust off.
It takes all kinds.
It does.
If you're lucky enough to find something that works for you.
Wait, can I bring up something that I don't know if we can talk about, and we'll cut it if not, but I just was thinking, you brought up intervention, and it just made me think of the show Hoarders, which just made me think of people that
also guilty as charged.
Exactly, like all DJs in a way are hoarders of things, and especially records and record collectors. And you were offered,
and being a young person who was heavily influenced by the actions of DJ AM was also no way to not be a hoarder
of shoes, records, shirts, everything.
These ones you got to get 3 of, bro.
Exactly.
Like, it was just like
I mean, he's on Entourage talking about it.
Yeah.
But
I live in a world of shoes and books and records and I have actually just begun selling cassettes, which are having a moment right now.
They are, yeah.
But I try to make sure all my stuff goes to home. Like I have a vintage skateboard collection, I have vintage cassette collection, vintage shoe collection, vintage, and I am now a man who lives in I'm paying rent for these things to live with me. They live not rent free in my house.
They live
quite
full.
Expensively, better than a lot of human beings live. These items live
better than pets. Right.
But I also feel like at the tender age of 45, like I've like I don't identify as a collector anymore, but what I've been doing for 25 years is collecting, and I've collected. And now it's time for, because the whole idea was, dude, you got to put this away because it's going to be worth money one day. But also like, I don't want to be like put in my like pyramid with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
you're in the tomb.
So I've been, but what I do try to do is make sure they go to the right places.
Right.
So like I've been selling skateboards, and I make sure they go to guys that have good collections that are going to put them up on their walls and put them on Instagram and do things. Right. And I got a lot of offers on the rave tapes, like LA rave tapes from the 90s. And the guy that I sent it to, DJ Shane, has a YouTube, I believe it's called Mixtape Archive, where it's like he records them and like remaster and gets the best quality he can. So it's like they're gonna live forever.
Oh, thank God.
On YouTube, where I can access them far easier than I can while they're in a Case Logic in a closet. You know what I mean?
I've got so many tapes, like my college radio shows. And I'm like, what am I doing with this? How can I ever even listen to it?
That kind of stuff is hard. I have my college radio shows too, and it's like I'm certainly not going to sit there and digitize all these because that's for exactly nobody. But you can't throw them away because it's the only existing record of it, right?
What if like my kid wants to hear it?
So what do? Leave a message in the comments. Tell us what to do.
Who has a college mixtape archive?
Yeah, exactly. Also, do you want to hear our college radio shows?
Oh my God. I mean, I listened back to some and there's some pretty funny shit because it was like this, but nobody listening. And it would just be me and my friend like at 3 a.m. in like Sonoma State. And like he's in one room and I'm in the other. And we would play like a Wu-Tang Clan recording of Tim Westwood interviewing them. But then I'd have him turn down Tim Westwood. And then I would call in and pretend I was talking to Wu-Tang in the lobby of the radio station. And there'd be maybe
essentially like what Kendrick Lamar did with Tupac, you're saying was taken from you.
Yeah, he heard that. And then like we would like make a tape of it, at 3 a.m. and like think it was the fun. We'd be crying, laughing, like, I'm talking to Method Man. And like, I don't know why we were doing that, but
because that's objectively awesome.
It was amazing. Yeah. Like, and so we would just, and there'd be 2 people listening in the dorms, if that. It was like my friend Alex and like one other person that was like, for some reason, accidentally on the station, and so we.
Wait, where were you? Where was your college radio show?
Sonoma State.
No shit.
Yeah, so I grew up in LA.
Sonoma's awesome.
Graduated 95 and decided I wanted to move to New York or a bigger city. Looked at New York, looked at San Francisco. Was like, I don't know what happened, and then went to Sonoma State one day and went, you know what? I'm going here for 1 year. This seems cool.
It's vibey up there.
Went up there.
Shout out to Paso, the DJ. They lived up there.
So love Paso. We made music together.
Did you? That's amazing.
They used to come to my studio all the time, and like we have so many songs recorded on computers that I don't know what we've done with, but definitely talked about Sebastopol and all of the areas around there.
Yeah. And, my mom used to live up there. I would go up for Thanksgiving every year, and me and Vanessa would hang out and
that's so funny. Okay, so they're the best. I love them.
They got kids now too.
I know.
Shout out to them.
We're all parent life. Let's go.
Great DJs, great people.
And so we would, and then she wrote me this message recently that was hilarious that I didn't even totally remember, but she's like, you remember the bass player that used to come in and play on our songs with us and would just hit on me the whole time? And I'm like, I don't remember that, but she had this whole memory of it, and it was hilarious.
You know, they were so tall and so fun.
Yeah. Oh, I know, of course. But I had my wife even at that time,
of course.
like, so I'm not.
But if you're a bass player,
if you're a bass player coming into play, shoot that shot. Didn't work, I don't think.
Yeah, be cool, but shoot your shot.
Be cool, bro. And then, so she, but yes, I lived up there, did Sonoma State. My boy Jake Pashinsky, who's now down here he's a huge film editor and doing all these. Pushinsky, baby. He's, look him up, killing it, just won awards. He did the Lakers documentary.
I feel like
he's
seen
doing
that
an amazing,
See, I was on WNYU, but not the one you're thinking. I was on WNYU AM.
Oh, okay.
So there was 2 studios. Like there was the one where like DJ Eclipse and DJ Riz had their show.
Right. And I would hear tapes
and
from that.
And and Beats in Space and like all those like really cool shows that everyone in New York knows about.
Right.
And then there was 800 AM, which broadcast basically in like a half-mile radius of the place. So you could only really hear it if you lived in the dorms, or if you had the NYU, like if you had a TV in
Like
your
a cable
dorm
box.
room,
That was exactly mine too.
And you had the cable thing. You
it
could
was a
hear
half
it
mile
on,
and then
like,
the cable
one- yeah.
box thing.
But Carlos D of Interpol was my station manager.
Oh, wow.
And it was like definitely before Interpol and before a lot of like, and he was dressed that way. So he would come in dressed like, you know, Dr. Frankenstein and like with like a necktie and like a, you know, looking like a German in the 40s. So just like all kinds of crazy stuff with crazy haircuts.
God.
He would come in and be like, you guys are playing too many dirty versions and like whatever, you know. And like, I definitely heard someone say bitch or like, you know.
Right. That's amazing. Yeah, that was how
to Carlos D.
That's so cool. I guess that was how I got a lot of records. I mean, I would just get free promos, and that was kind of my motivation.
Well, that was because we would go up there and there would be, you know, boxes of stickers, CDs, and like, you know, a lot of the great stuff in my collection is still from WNYU.
But question I was going to ask before, can you say you sold a huge portion of your record collection? Are you allowed to say who you sold that to?
Absolutely. I signed exactly nothing.
Okay, so. I remember getting a call like, do you want to sell your record collection? And then they're telling me, and then they're like, Mike B did it.
Yeah.
You sold a huge amount of your vinyl to
I remember
Travis.
another friend of ours reached out to me too. He's like, oh, they hit me up. Like, I can't believe you said yes. I'm like, you can't? Like, what the hell am I doing with all of this stuff?
Exactly. So
like, why is it there?
No, so Travis Scott bought
about a third of my record, about 3,000 records from me.
And immediately, like you got the call and they went and picked it up like the next day or something, right?
The turnaround was very quick. I had to leave. It was during quarantine, and I was basically like in my brother's pool, like trying to broker this deal. And like once we arrived at a number, which I assure everyone who didn't take this deal was a fantastic amount of money considering what I got rid of. And it's going to be so much easier to move and so much easier to be a functional human being with 3,000 less pieces of vinyl in my life. And what if I told you that I still have a very great record collection? I'm going to play at Dante's Hi-Fi in Miami next week. All vinyl.
Incredible.
I can still play.
And I'm sure Travis Scott has an amazing record collection out of it.
Yeah, he does. He certainly has a lot of songs that I don't need. And here's the thing. For the price I negotiated, if I realize that something's missing, I can certainly replace it.
That's true, too.
I think he got a good deal because he got what he needed when he needed it.
Exactly.
I think it was sort of kind of like, I mean, it was on the news. Him and the, you know, whatever Kardashian he's married to or something were moving into you know, some multi-million-dollar mansion in the hills and whatever it was. And and I think it was just one of those things where like I think like my dad had that, like when he like moved and got his like he made a lot of money and got a big house, and it was just like, well, we'll have a book full of, you know, a room full of, it's like some Ron Burgundy, like I have a room with many leather-bound books.
Yes.
Like I feel like it was kind of the new version of that. It was like, well, we have all these rooms. We're gonna need like a vinyl library. Like that'll be cool. Like I think that's why they wanted a whole collection. That was the information that I received. Shout out to Jesse Marco, who middlemaned this for me. And he was just like, yeah, he wants a collection and he wants it to be from a quote unquote OG. Those were the only stipulations. His management hit me up and they wanted to assure that I was a quote unquote OG and that what I was giving him was quote unquote that fire.
And they were right. It was.
I have an email that literally they can take me to court and be like, well, what is the definition of that fire? And I was like, I mean, I don't know. This is that fire. Not my favorite records. I had about 10 minutes before the movers got there to like, just there was a couple ones that I knew that I wanted to keep for myself, but also they had directions. Like the thing was we had to look up the IKEA shelves and figure out how many approximately they held, which was 1,500 a piece.
Okay.
And they wanted the shelves too. So the thing was the directive that the movers got was make sure there's no room in the shelves. And like the movers came in and I'm still like kind of taking stuff off the shelves. And they're like, well, you got to take, if you're going to take stuff out, you got to take things from that one, like put it back in over there. I was like, well, I don't know if you're like supposed to be telling me what to do. But also he's like, it says right here, dude, they all got to be full. And I'm just like,
it's got to be that fire.
All right. I'm like, well, you get the entirety of my Slip and Slide Records catalog. I remember everything neon tight. Green, everything like Blunt TVT, like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah. I got huge sections of that still.
Exactly.
I should have sold it.
Again, like if I need my Get Low 12-inch, I feel like I can get one pretty relatively inexpensive.
Yes. Well, I still have 2 of them.
I did try to sell the rest of my record collection, like during quarantine. Like one night I was just like, because that was how the price got set. I'm not going to say what the price is. I feel it's crass to talk about.
That's fine. I'm not asking that. I just wanted to know.
But it was the way that I did get my high price, which I think is maybe higher than some of the other people that didn't want to do it, thought it would be, was that they said, well, how much for your whole collection? And I can tell you what I said for that. I was like $100,000, because I was like, what would it be like? Like, what would it be like, dude? Like, what if you're just someone that had exactly 0 pieces of vinyl in your house? What is that life? Like, when's the last time? What were you, 13 years old the last time you did it?
Clean slate.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the last time I didn't have any records in my room, I was 7. You know what I mean? Like it was the thing. I came home from school one day and like my parents got a new record player. So they put the old one in my room and then they put a stack of records there. And I was like, I get this. And it was the coolest thing to me in the world. And then I just started buying records. This is 1986.
Oh my God.
So, you know, like, I don't even know what that's like.
Right.
Every time I've ever gone anywhere has been a schlep and a half.
Oh my God.
You know? So like, I was just like, what is it? What is it with nothing?
Yeah. $100,000. Also, people have money. $100,000 is different to different people.
To Travis Scott, that could be a night at Red Lobster. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know what that is. To him, you know, I mean, compared to the
There's cars that cost a lot more than that.
That's what I'm saying. People do that at the strip club.
Yes.
So like, I threw it out there, and then they were like, "Well, we don't need all that." But now, so it was kind of, it all got worked out. But I still have, you know, I forget where I was going with this.
I do too, but you still have a lot of good records.
We still have a lot of good records, so don't even trip, y'all.
So don't even trip, y'all.
There was a reason I was bringing all that up.
We can rewind.
Who knows?
No, it was that.
Anyway, if you're lucky enough to sell your records, sell them.
Right.
Because
it was setting the prices and all the stuff. And
stuff needs.
Yeah. And also the same thing happened with The Win. The Win purchased a massive thing of records. I got that call too, because they opened that bar
on the
inside
record,
of. No, not on the record.
Different one?
The place,
vinyl bars are a big thing now.
Yeah. But
and
the place
DJ Shadow said something really insightful about selling records. I think it was him that I read recently, which was just like, he was like, what I sell when I have record sales is not just stuff I want to get rid of. It's things that are really good that I know that maybe I'm the only one that has it in this kind of condition, or that it's something that is super rare that I've held on to for 30 years. And these things need to live. Like if you've already sampled the record or you've held on to it and now it's worth $100 more than when you got it, like let those things go. Like that's kind of what I'm doing with my collection right now, is like there are younger collectors who want this stuff. There are people that it's going to mean as much to as when I first got it.
It's true.
And I think if you hold on to something for 20 or 30 years and you're lucky enough not to have it go in a fire or not to mess it up or not to have it lose value, then like keep it moving, I think.
I agree. That's a good way to look at it.
That's my mantra. That's how I'm convincing myself that I'm not devastated and already missing the things that I've gotten rid of.
You can get them again.
You can.
And like you said, everything's blowing up. There's vinyl bars. It was at Intrigue, the old Tryst. They had at Intrigue. They opened a vinyl bar and they bought all the records for the back. Then this whole thing shut down and they just reopened it like a week ago. And Eddie Mack is now doing
the popularity of vinyl bars is a big thing. That's how I know what's going on, is when I get the Shecky Green rundown of what's going on. We were talking last week and he was telling me that that's the thing. Well, it is cool. People like, I think for many years, the question about DJs has been like, what is that man doing?
Right.
And I think over the years, although we're maybe doing more and more, we also are doing less. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like it did used to be harder. People were like, when people are like, this might be a little controversial, but I mean, I'm sure you hear it a lot. It's a boys' club and it's blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you used to have to lug hundreds of pounds of shit everywhere.
True.
So like, not saying that there's not women that can lug shit around.
Right.
I'm just saying that the girls that I used to DJ with in New York were a lot stronger than I was. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like they were
It's a good
brolic,
point.
as we would say.
Brolic.
Well, I just mean like, like
Yes.
it was like, or like, if you were a petite feminine, if you like DJ Kaori, for instance, she had a guy who drove around in a van with all her
Right.
records that just brought him from place to place. It was much, much more difficult.
Yeah.
And there
You'd
was
have a dolly.
and there was a lot more. There was a lot more schlepping, and there was a lot more, heavy lifting. And again, I'm not saying women can't carry stuff. I'm saying it was a factor. And I used to have to carry 4 crates up 4 flights of stairs, and it was uphill both ways in the snow. You know what I mean?
Back in my day. I mean,
But it is, it's we have all this stuff. I'm trying to figure out, I got to play vinyl
Right,
at
in
Dante's next
Miami.
week. I got to have 2 hours of stuff. I'd never had the foresight to collect 7-inches.
I was about to
always
say,
like,
I would take the money you got and buy 45s because I can't
I
travel
just go to
with the
Amoeba
12-inch.
and just put together like a 645.
literally. Because what the hell?
But I won't know. I've
Like
never like
a
played
small
with
amount
them.
of 12
I
inches.
got big hands. What am I going to do with those things?
I don't know. I'm with you, but I had the same thought. I'm like, oh, I'm starting to get asked to play
I mean,
records.
I'm excited to play. I love playing vinyl.
Or
I
you just have to almost just make a tight, not necessarily set, but tight crate.
Well, like I played vinyl just a couple weeks ago. I opened at an all vinyl night at a warehouse for Doc Martin and DJ Sneak, which was,
Amazing.
a lot of pressure too. Because
Yeah.
I was like, man, like I used to be good at this, and now I'm playing like in front of my 2 favorite DJs who like never stop doing this.
Right.
But it was a thing where like Doc came into the booth and got on. He's like, you really brought a lot of shit for an hour. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like, because I don't know. Because
Yeah, you're not as seasoned
in
anymore.
my
with it,
head.
yeah.
I want to, like, I don't know what I'm going to play in that hour.
know.
And I want the option to do all of these
That's
things.
why I used to bring way
because
too
I'm
much.
the kind of DJ that I am, and I want to
No,
go all
that's
over the place.
and so it makes it harder for us.
So that is actually what I'm going to spend the next week doing, which is going through my entire record collection, which is so much easier to do now than it used to be.
Thanks, Travis.
I can go through my entire record collection in about 45 minutes now. I've done it like 5. Every time I have a vinyl gig, I get to literally see everything I have. That's
great.
Where it used to be like, where's that thing? I can't find it. I don't know.
That's where I
Like,
am.
I know exactly where it is, but I do love vinyl. I'm excited about this. I hope it comes back more because I like there to be a reason to have those records. If I'm going to have them, I
We just
want them
need
to live.
things to help us, like those around LA. There's these little robots that drive around and deliver food everywhere. Like,
Samo.
make a vinyl carrier one of those. Like the dude just follow
yeah.
you around,
Like the Korean lady
I would,
golf carts.
I'll pay the Samo guy. Let me put him in there. This fool can follow me or deliver it, and then I show up. Oh, thanks, Samo, and then I do my set, and he takes it home because I'm not carrying that shit.
Have
everywhere.
you seen those like the golf carts that follow you around?
Yeah, I don't know about a golf cart. But
Yeah, they have like whenever I see the like Korean ladies on the golf course, they have golf course where it's like that you have like a little like detector in your pocket, and so it's like a cat.
If the vinyl thing gets big enough, I'm building vinyl Samo, and then
vinyl Samo.
can go
That'd be
Miami, New York, LA. Who wants to carry this shit?
But how do you get it in your car and stuff?
It has
We're
a little
figuring
ramp.
this out.
Or,
Odyssey,
no, it
yo,
shows
who's
up
it-
at the gig.
Oh,
It picks up your shit, and then it goes.
I'm
You
playing
have to
in
set it up like
Miami.
2 hours
I
before.
I send it on its way.
Well, I don't know about to Miami, but it's better for local gigs.
I'm not worried about. That's what I'm saying. Is in local gigs, I bring everything I want. I got to figure out.
But
how
you don't
to
even
get-
have to carry it.
I
Then.
have to figure out how to get a 2-hour set of things that I know I'm gonna play to Miami.
Yeah, that's a bag,
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm gonna have to
A
be in my
roller
bag.
bag.
I have still the roller Odyssey
need
bag
that. You need
with
that.
the lift, but like, can it protect it? Do I check it? Do I dare check vinyl?
Don't check it. No, just that's your.
That's
put some
not a
shirts on top
carry-on,
of
dude.
it.
What a bin is that
You're
fitting
right. I
into?
don't
If
know.
it's
Check it.
150
Check
records.
it. I don't know.
I think I
Ask
gotta.
Eddie Mack. This is what he does for a living. Him and Anderson .Paak travel the globe. They just went to Korea and back.
Who's got the time to ask someone who's going to have an answer? You know, when you could just stress.
Literally
stress about it.
hit Sheck after this.
It's true. I'm gonna.
All right, you have dinner plans. This was amazing.
I think we covered a lot of ground.
We
I think
covered so
did
much
it. I
ground.
think
We could
did a
keep
good
going,
job.
obviously, but we did this.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, dude.
Always a pleasure. So much fun.
One of the best out there. Definitely the best podcast.
Thank you. Well,
but also shout out to anyone else's podcast.
Yeah. We love all podcasts. I don't hate. Congratulate. All right. DJ Spider Podcast, Beatsource, Beatport, The Mike B. You got any? Find him online. It's at The Mike B, TheeMikeb.
DJ. Yes.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, D Mike B DJ. Unfortunately,
The Mike B DJ.
Any Instagram people, please hit me up and let me know if I can get my name. The guy who had it in the beginning is not even on there anymore.
Who is
and
this
I don't know how to. I don't know, but he had like a 9/11 memorial up, and so many of my friends follow him.
Okay. I think I do too.
Yeah. And then, it's at the Mike B DJ on Instagram. You could catch me every first Friday at Club DJ.
Yes, please. Your residencies.
At Club TG in Atwater Village. My night, I Feel Love, which is a disco and house classic theme party. You should definitely come and play.
I want to.
If you have a Friday off.
Okay, I'd love
I can pay you in, sodas and beverages.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a great night. You can catch me at Electric Fields. We're all around the country. Check out Electric Fields at Electric Fields Party. And Google me. It's fun. There's all kinds of great videos and mixes. If it's music you're looking for, I'm your guy.
You found
Go on
the
my
man.
SoundCloud. It's a lot to navigate. But if you're just looking for music that I really like, presented to you in the style of a DJ set, my SoundCloud is a great place to be. That's also the Mike B DJ. And I think that's it.
That's right. We
Catch
promoted the
Threads.
Bandcamp. Yeah. Oh, talking about things on Threads. All right. Enjoy dinner. Good to see you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
My man.
Next time. Peace.
Peace.